I'm going to be completely honest with you today. It probably took me 20 minutes to set this up today, simply due to the fact that I have completely jacked my back up. I have gone years without my back hurting, but there was years where my back was so bad. And if anyone out there is listening to this who has had back pain before, you know the pain of back pain. I'm sitting here, if you're watching this on YouTube, I have like one of those TENS machines on that's trying to like shock my back right now. I've been putting magnesium cream on it. I've been laying on the ground. It's brutal. You know what? This is a PSA. So if you get nothing out of this podcast, which should be a really good one today, I was actually thinking about like what I should record. But if you get nothing else out of this podcast, get this. I don't think weighted vests are very good. I've been wearing a weighted vest on my walks, as you guys know, if you've been here a minute. If you haven't, welcome. But if you have been here a minute, you know I walk pretty much every single day. I have been doing it for like 5 years. And over the last probably 6 to 8 months, I've been wearing a weighted vest. It's only 15 pounds, but I'm feeling lately like I should have trusted my intuition. My gosh, I've done podcasts on this about trusting your intuition. And I felt like it's probably not the best thing because I'm like compressing my back. And I've always had like a bit of a lower back pain. I don't know what it's been from over the years. I'm sure golf has a big part of it, working out, just like getting older, unfortunately. But my back hasn't bothered me in a long time. And then this morning on my walk, I was like, gosh, Christina, like, don't wear this fucking vest anymore. Like, I've just known that it's just like not good. But part of me is like, I guess my competitive nature and the fact that I'm like, maybe it'll make my walk harder. Why do I have to make my walk harder? Why do I have to make my walk harder? I don't want to like make my walk harder. I don't know why mentally, now that I have this weighted vest, I feel like I have to use it. But I've been wearing it, and let me tell you, I don't think it's very good. And now my back is jacked up. So hopefully by the time this podcast comes out, my back is totally fine. But if not, please, thoughts and prayers for my back. And for anyone who has back pain, like, I will be honest with you, I don't know if there's a worse fucking pain on planet Earth besides back pain. It's just like brutal. And you know what I just thought of right now? I forgot a glass of water as I'm recording this podcast. So fingers crossed this is not a long one. Do you guys like longer podcasts or do you like shorter podcasts? I feel like I've been doing a mix lately, but I feel like they've been getting shorter and shorter. I don't know if that's because I like listening to shorter podcasts or what. I actually feel like sometimes I like the longer podcasts. And it's so weird too, because a lot of people say that shorter podcasts are a good thing. And yet think about some of the most successful podcasts ever, like a Rogan podcast, or 3 hours sometimes. So who freaking knows? But today's podcast, I thought, was going to be a really good topic of conversation because I was talking with one of my clients and she was asking me like, what are the common themes of your clients? And I was like, girl, you are like a poster child for everything of the commonalities of my clients. And like, it's honestly like very similar across the board over the last 8 years that I've been doing this. And it's very similar between men and women. So I have both men and women clients. And I will tell you, like, the characteristics of the people that I attract seem very, very familiar. And I've always said my very successful clients. And I think that sometimes comes to bite me in the ass because I know that there's probably some one of you who is listening to this podcast who do not believe that you're successful. And you're like, oh, I could never work with Christina because I'm not, quote, successful. And even my most successful clients have come to me and said, well, I just don't know if I'm successful enough. And so I would like to start there before I get into the characteristics and the traits of my clients, because I think that that's sometimes the biggest problem, especially with a lot of the clients that come to me, is they don't really know their definition of success. So if you are listening to this and you are painting this picture in your head that you are, quote, not successful enough, or you're not at the level of my clients, I would really like you to think what does success mean to you? And what version are you painting in your head that you have to be at a certain level in order to ask for support, in order to be, quote, more successful? I am not 100%, and please listen to me when I hear this, I am not talking only financial when it comes to my clients. I actually don't really care about the financial part all that much. Now, people that are working with me that cannot, that do not want to invest, $500 to, $2,500 a month in themselves, you're probably not my person, just simply due to the fact that that is the investment that you're going to have to make. However, that is 100% not my definition of success. I want someone's definition or my personal belief around success. Now, all of my clients have a very different definition of success, but like my definition of success is 1000% not only money. And I think that most people know this because I could be bringing on a lot more clients and making a lot more money if I chose success to only be deemed monetary. So people like my closest clients, my friends, my family, they know that like, yes, finances is a big part of it. Like I believe, and if you've listened to this podcast before, like finances can give you choices, but like 100%, I am never going to give up time for money ever. And honestly, a lot of the times money does buy time, but I'm not going to give up certain areas of my life in order to bring on more clients just to make just to make more money financially. And so I would really like you to ask yourself, like, what is your definition of success? Maybe your definition of success is working a lot less and making a lot less money so you have more time to do the things that you want to do. So when I say my very successful clients, I really want you to like not deem yourself in that pile if you actually truly do believe that you know what your definition of success is and you want a life that is, quote, your version of success. Please don't always paint it in the version of like believing that you have to be making millions and millions of dollars. I only work with 30 clients at a time. I've been very transparent over the years. I take a maximum of 30 clients. On average, I usually sit around 27, 28 clients, depending on like if one leaves or one comes. But on average, it's that 27 to 28 clients. And if I'm being honest, which I always try to be very transparent on this, I would say about 8 to 9 of my clients are hitting that 7 figures. So that's really like, let's just round number it. That's only a third of my clients that are in that million to 5, 6, 7 million. I think one of my clients does close to about 7 million. So like out of, 1/3 of my clients are only doing that 7 figures and above, around 7 figures and above. So the other, 2/3, the other 20 people, let's just round it. The other 20 people are not there yet. And some of them have zero desire to be. I will be the first person to tell you, Christina LaCure, do not bring in $1 million of revenue, nor do I keep $1 million in salary. I do not even come close to that. On average, I don't even know if I really care to share it, but like I've kind of talked about it on average, but on average, my business brings in roughly $300,000 to $500,000 in all of the different like income streams that I have in this business and otherwise. So at the end of the day, for me, I am not quote unquote a millionaire. I am not quote unquote, this business does not do $1 million. So my version of success is not even close to doing $1 million. And so I really want you to like take that in mind. Some of my best clients are doing right around that 6 figures, multi-6-figure range. Those people are the ones who can comfortably, is that a word? Yes. Comfortably, invest a few $1,000s into themselves each month to feel like they are moving forward. They are getting clear. They are getting through roadblocks. They are getting to that next level. They are getting to their version of success. And so I do sometimes want to paint that because I think everyone in their brain paints this story that you have to be making these millions of dollars. And I'll be very transparent. I have a few clients who like literally probably make, and I've never actually asked, but they're probably only make like that $50,000 to $60,000. And they're still investing in themselves at that, 1 call a month price point because they do want to get to that 6 figures and above, and they need clarity and they want to buy back their time. As a person who does multi 6 figures in her business, it is so much easier for me to tell a person, okay, do this, do this, do this, rather than learning it by themselves. And I think that unfortunately our school systems, I'm not really a school person. I will tell you, yes, I graduated like summa cum laude, all the fucking things. I got all the awards. I did all the shit. And I don't know if I would tell someone to go to school unless they wanted to be like a doctor or a nurse or a lawyer, something that you needed the degree for. I was very fortunate. I had full rides, full scholarships. I have zero debt from school. I'm not saying that it's bad if you do have it. Most people do. Most people go to school and come out of school with a ton of debt. That wasn't the route that, I had to live, and no shame if it is or isn't. But I would probably not go to school. And like, if I had children, I don't know if I would want my children to go to the university route, only for the fact, unless they really truly wanted to. But I would never pressure that, because I think there's a lot more that you can learn in real life. I think there's a lot more ways to make money in this world that do not need schooling, to be honest with you. I think if you're an entrepreneur and you're a hustler, I think that there's so many ways to make money in this world. And I think if you're willing and you're passionate about something, I think you can be successful, whether you have a college degree or whether you don't have a college degree. And I think that there's so many more things that we need to learn that they do not teach in school. Hence all of the shit that I talk about, the mindset work, the money work, all of that kind of stuff. I think that that stuff is so much more important and so much more critical to a young person's life than going to fucking school and taking, I don't know, calculus or whatever the fuck. We have computers, we have ChatGPT. Like, none of that shit actually matters anymore for a lot of people. So all of that to be said, I would really kind of, let's start with that, is like, know your definition of success, know what you actually want, have people around you that are going to get you to that level of success that you want, and you can fast track that. If I wanted to make $1 million next year, I would hang around people who are making millions of dollars, if not more than millions of dollars, to figure out what they're doing, to learn from them. I would invest every amount of money that I possibly could to be around those people. That's how I actually started this business too. I was like, if I've never done this before, I'm just going to pay people who have already done it. And there's a lot of people that, obviously pay me for that. Now, over the years, I've kind of transitioned into helping more of the really successful people, get rid of the stress and anxiety and do life and business on their own terms, putting in policies and procedures, but also the mindset work of it. And so, my career has changed, even though I talk about the exact same thing. The type of people that I definitely bring in has changed over the years, just because I think I've changed, like I am at a different level and season of life, and the things that I care about are, different. I think I was working with a lot of beginning stage entrepreneurs when I first got in the coaching industry, because I had a lot of success quickly. And I think that a lot of that came from the fact that, I had a lot of success in the corporate golf world. I had a lot of success owning and managing myself in the golf world. And I think a lot of people wanted to know how I did it, how I was making money, how I was around the right people. People don't even know the fact that, like, there was clients I had that flew me on private jets. And, the first time I ever went on a private jet, most people wouldn't even know this because they would think immediately it was because of my husband. The first time I was on a private jet had nothing to do with my husband. The first time that I was paid 5 figures in one day had nothing to do with my husband. And now my husband, is very successful. And a lot of the things that we get to do come from his success. I consider it our success together. I mean, my God, we've been together over 20 something years. But at the same time, too, I mean, a lot of people don't know that about me, don't know that a lot of the things that I've been able to do have come from outside of his success. I think that, he was an integral part of that success, because he's always been my number one cheerleader. He's always been the person who's pushed me and, encouraged me to do the scary things that I had no business doing in the beginning. And I still sometimes today have no business doing the things that I'm doing, but I have an amazing support system from him. So all of that to be said is, I really wanted to kind of start this podcast like that. And I really wanted to kind of get clear on, who perhaps, if you've ever thought about working with me and why you would work with me, I wanted to kind of put that out there first. So if you had this idea that you had to be making $20 million a year in order to work with me, well, that's not necessarily the case. And now if you are, you could be a perfect person, but I just wanted to really put that out there. So going back to what my client and I were talking about, and you guys, if I move around and there's some noise today, it's only because I have to move my back so it doesn't get stuck. Oh, the misery of a back pain. Praying, hope and prayers by the time this comes out. Dear God, hope and prayer by the time tomorrow happens, this is going to go away. But I don't know if I'll be that lucky. Anyway, mindset work when it comes to the back too. My back feels amazing and fine and everything is great. Okay, so I wrote a list of the most common characteristics of my most successful clients. And this is the one thing that I think is, huge. And I've been talking about this for years. And it is my clients take personal responsibility. I've been using the word personal responsibility for such a long period of time. But when I was thinking about all of my clients together, they take extreme ownership of everything that's happened. The good, the bad, the ugly, the things that they're doing, the things that they aren't doing. If I am going to talk to you about something and something isn't working, I will give you complete and transparent honesty that is probably my fault. And if it's going well, it's probably my fault in some regards too. I probably have worked my ass off for it. But I probably, for the things that aren't working, I try not to give any excuse. I try not to say it's because of this, this, and this. I most oftentimes say it's because I didn't do what I needed to do, or, what could I have done better? And a lot of my clients do the exact same thing. I'll be honest with you. Like, most of my clients take extreme responsibility and ownership for what it is that is going right and what isn't going right, and they're willing to do it every single time. Personal responsibility is one of the greatest things that you can ever learn. It's a characteristic that I wish so many more people had, and I think that when you take personal responsibility, it actually makes your life 1,000 times better. Okay, the second thing is that most of my clients actually work really hard, and I think that, that is something that's almost taboo in this world nowadays. I think a lot of people, don't really want to work. They want to fast track the work. They want to figure out how to do it faster, quicker, and which I totally get, but they're not willing to do the thing that you need to do. I was listening to, I don't know if it was a Diary of a CEO podcast or maybe an Alex Hormozi podcast. Anyway, as you can tell, those are the type of podcasts that I listen to when I'm not listening to my, calm down or the morning after podcast. Those are the two that I listen to when I just want to zone out. But they were talking about the first 5 years of business being the absolute hardest years in business, which I believe are so true. If you want to be good and successful at anything, I think the first years of business are by far the fucking hardest. And a lot of my clients over the years, I don't even know if I can say that not every one of them have been extremely hard workers. They are people that are just willing to do what it takes. And I think that, a lot of my clients who come to me to get out of the anxiety, to get out of the overwhelm and stuff like that, have probably been in business much longer than 5 years, because I think there becomes a point where it's almost flipped to where you get so used to the hustle and the grind that you almost don't know how to come out of it. It's almost like a habit that you have. And that's why I talk about stories, patterns, and habits so much, is because I think the first 5 years of your business, you are hustling, you are grinding, you're doing everything. You're not making any excuses. You're not taking vacations. You're just literally doing everything humanly possible in order for it to work. And then all of a sudden there's this kind of switch where things are kind of going well. And yet, you're always striving for that next million or that next thing or that next job or client or employee or whatever it is. And that is really where I feel like I'm the best with my clients, to be honest with you, is because I can call out their stories, patterns, and habits to get them to where they want to be without that. But I do believe in the first few years, and it's in that podcast that I was listening to there, they talked about the first 5 years are the hardest. That's probably true. And I will say that my most successful clients are the ones who are willing to do the fucking work. They are the ones who are willing to do the work, even when they don't feel like it, even when it doesn't make sense, they are willing to do the work. Okay. The next thing that a lot of my clients have in common is the fact that they always want to be around other successful people. They want to figure out how other people have done it. Now, I will say that I've had a few clients over the years that are almost intimidated by other successful people because they don't feel good enough or worthy enough or all of those things. And I think that that's a very different conversation. But a vast majority of my clients really do want to be around other successful people. They want to learn from other people. They want to take that one tidbit. Recently, one of my clients came out with this unbelievable AI type of tool. It's almost like a guide on how to use AI. And I sent it to all of my clients. My one client didn't know that I was sending it to all of my other clients. I sent it to them because I was just like, absolutely, this is an amazing tool. As my clients, I want to share it with you. I think you should buy it. It was very inexpensive. If you want it, let me know. It's a really cool idea for you. If you're not super familiar with AI, it's an unbelievable guide for someone to learn AI in the beginning. And look, this is the problem with filming podcasts in your living room. Your doorbell rings during the middle of the day. So I don't know if you guys heard that, but yes, that was my doorbell. And no, I'm not going to get it. Who knows who it is? It's probably spam or the Amazon guy. Does anyone else have their Amazon people pretty much like live at their house? My dad, once he started living with us, is like, Chris, do you order from Amazon every single day? I was like, pretty much, Dad. Like, why go anywhere else? Oh, and now the person is absolutely knocking. So I don't know who it is, and fingers crossed they'll just go away. So that's annoying. Anyway, so where was I? My clients literally want to be around other successful people. And most of my clients, I will say, want to be around other successful people, learn from them, whatever it is. And I was telling you about my client who has this AI tool. And I signed up for it with I totally paid my client. I thought it was so great. And I sent it to my other clients and said, listen, if you even get one thing out of this, I guarantee you, you will be able to, get one thing out of this, and I'm sure it will be worth it. And I think a lot of my clients are always willing to do one thing in order to get one thing out of it. And so what I mean by that is if you are around other successful people and you only get one thing from them, it's totally fucking worth it. And I believe that to be true. I believe that if I can be around other successful people and I take one thing, or if I pay for something and I get one thing, if I invest in something and I get one thing, I always feel like it's worth it because I'm always willing to pay to be around people to learn one thing that I didn't already know. I think one of the greatest things that very successful people do is they're always willing to learn from other people. I want to be a sponge. I learned this a long time ago in my professional golf career. I learned it from a guy named Peter Jacobson, and he said, be a sponge. Take what you want and leave what you don't. And I think that is something that I have always remembered. I want to be around people who are successful. I want to learn from successful people. I think it is one of the greatest things that you can do. And when I was thinking about all my clients, they're always willing to do the same thing too. They're always listening and reading and paying to be in rooms and getting around the right people because they want to learn from other successful people. So that was the third thing. What is the fourth thing? A lot of my clients are willing to almost I don't want to say take hate, but a lot of my clients are willing to be misunderstood, doubted, judged, even hated on because they're doing something that most people are not willing to do. I wrote down that they do it anyway. And I think that is 100% the truth. I will tell you, even still to this day, even as I'm recording this podcast, I have people in my life. I have people that I could probably name drop 10 people right now that do not understand me, probably do not enjoy me, probably judge me, probably don't believe in me, probably think that I am, a bullshit, a fraud, speaking out of my ass, don't think any of my success is due to me. There's just so much stuff, but I'm willing to do it anyway. I am willing to walk into a room where people don't like me. I am willing to put myself on social media. I am willing to stand up for what I believe because I'm willing to be misunderstood. And if I think about all of my clients, so many of them are exactly the same. It doesn't mean that you aren't scared. It doesn't mean that it's easy, but they're willing to do it anyway because they believe in what they're doing or they want what they want so desperately that they're willing to be misunderstood. They're willing to be judged. They're willing to do whatever it friggin' takes. And so that is a characteristic that a lot of my clients have. So maybe you're listening to you're listening to this thinking about yourself and you're thinking, fuck, I am all of these things. Well, I hope you are because I really believe that is the characteristics of a very successful people. Okay, so what's another thing that I said? They're always willing to invest in themselves. Something that I don't want to tell you that I've always been this way, especially in the beginning stages of my journey where I didn't have as much money as I have today. I will tell you, it's scary to invest in yourself when you don't believe in yourself, or when you don't have, I always say most people don't have a big pile of money just waiting to be spent. At no point in time in my life have I ever had a big pile of money just waiting to be spent. I definitely have more now than I probably ever had before, but it's not like I have these big piles of money just sitting around going, I wonder what I can spend these on. And 90% of people don't, right? But people are willing to invest in themselves. Like, I am never afraid to invest. Like this set up in my living room. I went out and blew $2,000, and I don't think of it as blowing $2,000. I never even thought, like, I promise you, I never even thought 1 minute of it. I was like, what do I need? How is it going to work? How am I going to get better? Like, what do I need to do? What do I need to go buy? Done. When I was thinking about redoing some of my branding and my website and my social and stuff like that this year, I was like, okay, what do I need to do? Who do I need to hire? Who do I need to be around? Who do I need to learn from? Like, I'm always willing to invest in myself. If I've got something going on, what do I need to do right now? My back. What do I need to buy? Who do I need to hire? Who do I need to be around in order to fix this? Most of my clients are not afraid to invest in themselves. They do the work. They're willing to do the work because they want to be better. And I think that maybe that's an overarching theme of this podcast today, is like, they're always willing to be better. They are willing to pay to be better. Okay. So another characteristic of a lot of my most successful clients is this. And I learned this from actually a girlfriend of mine, one of my best friends to this day. Her name is Erin, and she's a very successful businesswoman. And she was speaking in one of my group programs years ago when I used to do group programs. And she said, you get to a point in life, and mostly in business, where you learn that it's not if problems are coming, it's when are they coming and how fast can I get over them? And I was thinking about probably about 10 of my clients. And I was thinking, what is a commonality between these 10 people? I actually have a list on my desk of like my most successful, what I think are like my most successful clients. Because I always think about like, what are the characteristics that they have that, I can instill in other clients and in myself. I learn from my clients all the time. And one is that they 100% are willing to deal with failure, willing to deal with hard things almost on a daily basis. It's not when a problem is going to come. It's not, pardon me, it's not if a problem is going to come. It is, when is the problem going to come and how fast can I get through it? And I remember when Erin told me that so many years ago. She's like, there is problems every single day, sometimes every hour. And it's, how do I get through them quickest? How can I literally just take an action and get through it, take an action and get through it. And I thought that was so good, because a lot of people, especially people who are, early stages of life, or just perhaps like living in this fear mentality, they're always wondering like if a problem is going to come. And it's not if a problem is going to come. It's how fast can I get through it? And I will tell you, my most successful clients, I love when I get to help them through it, because some of these problems are huge problems. I'm talking hundreds of thousands of dollars of problems. I'm talking about employee problems. I'm talking about life problems. And I'll be honest, I talk a lot about business because a lot of my clients hire me because it's a good write-off. It's a fantastic write-off, to be honest with you. But a lot of my clients, we talk about personal stuff as well. And it is just a combination. I've always said it is personal and professional. It's so hard to do one without the other. And sometimes the personal shit is way, way harder than the business stuff. I will tell you, my own personal thought, business is way fucking easier than life. 150%, I will take that all day, every day. That is an honest to God true statement. But getting through problems and getting through them quickly with support and like literally moving through them as fast as possible, that is how a person becomes successful. Because when an average person who doesn't know how to deal with problems, they get stuck, and time is money. And time, like when you stay in the fear and you stay in the stuckness and you stay in the overwhelm, that is just causing you, it's just causing you time. It's causing you money. It's causing you overwhelm. And it doesn't always necessarily have to be that. So my most successful clients, they can like still deal with fear and doubt and worry and all of that kind of stuff, but they get through it quickly and they don't freeze and they don't pause. Okay, the last thing that I will say when it comes to my most successful clients, and I really want you to hear this. I have worked with hundreds of people over the last 8 years that I've been in this industry, and I will tell you 100% clarity, I can tell you it's almost to an absolute T. Anyone who comes to me thinking something needs to happen in a certain amount of time is most of the time going to fall off, quit, or, get stuck and just quit. The person who comes to me who's saying, I'm coming to you because I want it to be easier, I want the support, but under no circumstances do I believe that something is going to happen overnight, or I am putting a time frame on when this has to work. Those are the people who are the most successful. In no form or fashion have I ever said in my business, it needs to work by this time. And a lot of the things actually have come a lot faster than I've ever assumed. I've been very transparent. The first 3 years of my business, I think it was like first 2.5, 3 years of my business, I spent way more money on my business and on myself than I ever fucking made. But had I given myself like a 3-year timeline, well, it has to make this amount of money in this amount of time, I would have quit. I would have never been here 8 years later because it would have never happened in that time frame. I showed up in my business and I said, this is going to work, period. I am doing this until. And my most successful clients are the ones who say, I am going to make this work until. When it works, I'm in it until. And when you have that mentality, I promise you, it actually happens faster than you can believe, because there is no finish line. It's a long game. It's being consistent. It's doing the things that most people aren't willing to do. Most people quit. The common theme around all of my clients is they're fucking amazing unicorns because they're willing to do the things that most people aren't willing to do. If you're even listening to this podcast, chances are you are on the verge of unicorn status because you are probably willing to do what most people aren't willing to do. And if you understand that and you're okay with it, it actually makes the journey so much better. I will tell you, yes, it's so much easier hindsight, but like 5 years ago, I would have only fucking dreamed to have the business that I had today. I would have only fucking dreamed of making the money that I make today. I would have only fucking dreamed to be around the people that I am around today. But I would have never been around these people, had this business, worked with some amazing human beings, and had so many fucking unbelievable opportunities if I would have quit, or if I would have put a timeline on it, or I wasn't willing to do it until it worked. And there's really actually no finish line. There are so many days that I still feel like I am like, I don't want to say like I feel like I'm a loser, because I definitely don't feel like I'm a loser, but there's some days that I don't feel like I'm at all where I need to be, or I'm not at all as far as I want to be. And then there's other days that I'm like, fuck me, how cool is it that I do something that 99% of people will never do? Like 99% of people will never make $1 doing the thing that they want to do. 99% of people will never work for themselves. 99% of people will never be so passionate about what they get to do. Like, that is so fucking cool. Even if I didn't make half the amount of money I did, but I'm still living life on my own terms. I'm still helping people. I'm still using my God's calling for life. Fuck me, how lucky am I? I am so lucky. And when I sit back and think about my most successful clients, I guarantee you almost all of them would probably say the exact same thing. How freaking lucky am I that I get to do something that I'm so passionate about? And I really feel like that's the win. At the end of my life, does it really fucking matter? And especially my life, because I have no kids. So I have no kids. So it doesn't really actually matter how much fucking money I made, because like when I die, who knows what's going to happen to it. But it's just like one of those cool things. And it's like when I get to the end of my life, I'm going to get to say like, how fucking cool is that? That I like went all in. I did the thing that no one said that I could do. I did the thing that, no one even hardly understands. I put myself out there. I'm so authentically myself. Like I am so fucking proud of myself. And yeah, I make a fool of myself sometimes, and I, put my foot in my mouth sometimes, and a lot of people don't like it. A lot of people that I know don't like it, but I like it. I like me. And I am my version of success. And so I hope today's podcast was interesting. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you took one thing from it. If you took anything from it, my God, go back through the list of the successful things. Are you any of those things? Are you willing to be any of those things? And if you are, fuck you. Awesome. I'm so proud of you. Because, those are the things that are like, those are the things that everyone really truly wants. When you put your head on the pillow, that is one thing I say to my clients all the time. I said, can you put your head on your pillow at night and be okay with who you are? And I think to me, that's like one of the greatest characteristics ever. And I guarantee you, most of my clients will tell you they can put their head on their pillow at night and be proud of who they are and what they do. So thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate you so much. Share this with a friend. Let me know what you want me to talk about. You guys can send me a text at any moment, at any time. It is me. Yes, 100%. It is me on this phone. I will reply to you. 501-222-3362. You guys, I am so appreciative. I thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next week.